Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome to Life Theory Podcast. This is my co-host, Andrew.
And this is my co-host, Silas.
Yes, we are co-hosts.
We have no host, just two co-hosts.
No.
This is why it's not so professional.
No, if we had a host, that would be so much better. But we're too poor for that. So, just kind of the assistant manager to the assistant manager to the assistant manager.
And then there's us.
Oh, we're that far down?
So we're talking about anxiety.
Yeah. If you're ever worried that you're not doing something right or just worried in general, we're talking about that. I really want to I want to start by dispelling the myths of anxiety, because that is a word created by the world, but the Bible also has a lot to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
So about the myths, the reality, and if you are anxious and if that's something you're dealing with, what can you do from a biblical perspective? First, what's a drink today?
Dragon fruit Mountain Dew.
It's amazing, actually.
It really is. It's really
I
good.
took one sip and I was like, what is this?
Very good. Saw it at Walmart. I was like, well, I haven't tried that one yet. And it was only $6 for a 12-pack, and 12-packs are usually $12. So I was like, sure, we'll try it.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. You guys should try some, honestly. But, topic, anxiety. It's something I would say everyone deals with, but not everyone has. I would use the air quotes, not in disrespect, but just because we haven't defined it yet. It has anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Because from a biblical perspective, you can get in a pattern of worry and care, but it doesn't define it as a permanent condition or something that's unchanging.
I was just realizing I want to know what the actual definition of anxiety is, because you already essentially defined it just now as care, and the other word that you said,
Worry.
So worry and care. But I want to just see what the
Webster's.
Webster's doesn't have it. Nor does WordNet 3. Okay, well, I guess we're going to look up anxious. Anxious, greatly concerned or solicitous, respecting something future or unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Very careful.
Ooh, I like the next thing. Being in painful suspense applied to a person. That is very accurate when it comes to anxiety.
Yeah.
That's sort of like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? I know that's something I would say I've probably dealt with more than you in general.
In general, probably, but yes,
we both dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say anxiety in the Bible is defined as worry, carefulness, and it's also seen in the Bible as a bad thing, or a thing that shows that you're not relying on the Lord.
Yeah.
The verse, I can't remember the reference. Be careful for nothing, but everything in prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your oh man, we'll have to look that up.
Request.
Let your request be made known
It's
unto the Lord.
4, 6 through 8.
Philippians 4, 6 and 3?
6 through
6
8.
3.
6 through 8.
Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things.
I like that. That is, well, I mean, that's kind of the diagnosis and the cure right there.
Yeah.
The peace of God. Keep your heart and minds. And it says the things to think on. And so it draws a conclusion that the things we think on are the ways is going to define the patterns we think.
So essentially, this is the cure. We can jump right to that and then maybe go back. But so be careful for nothing. That's don't be anxious.
Mm-hmm.
But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. So whenever we're kind of jumping right to the end.
We're jumping ahead. This. We'll come back to that
this.
because it gives you the diagnosis and the solution.
But thanks to our live audience for remembering the
yes
location.
We have. If this camera had a pan head, I would actually pan to them. But
let's start recording with a Live 360 or whatever.
Yeah, so we can just pan anywhere we want. I would say, like, in my life, often I get anxious, honestly, only for 2 reasons. One, if I don't know what the future holds, and I want to know, or I want to be in control, but I just don't know. The second is if there's a situation I care about, or people I care about, in a situation that I can't control.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if my friend is in a bad situation and I can't do anything about it, it bothers me. Even though I know the Lord is powerful enough to help him and heal him, it still is something where I wish I could do more. And so my brain can sometimes forget how powerful God is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a pattern there of thinking too much on future events that you can't control.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty much what anxiety is. Being too obsessed, I guess, about future events that you like they say, you don't have a time machine. You can't do anything about it.
Yep.
Or that they also use that in reference to things in the past where you get all hung up over things that happened in the past. Like you don't have a time machine. You can't go back and fix it. You gotta just move forward and do things right. But that doesn't quite fit in with anxiety.
Well, that fits in with our next topic.
Yes.
Having regrets and devastation about the past. So next week, you'll hear more about that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think another thing that people call anxiety is also like, I just had the term in mind, but thinking too much on, like, being too focused on yourself and your own image in your mind and what you think other
overthinking.
People look. Yeah, there's a term for that, and I can't think what it is. That's one of them, self-centered, but...
people-pleasing?
No.
No.
But yeah, that idea of thinking too much about how I am appearing to other people.
Yeah.
And they're... Yeah.
And then that's, again, worrying about things you can't control.
Yeah. Exactly. You can't control other people's opinion of you. You can control how you act and what you do, which makes other people form an opinion of you.
Yep.
But you can't control them. But I don't know that necessarily fits in with anxiety. Not by the actual definition, because the definition was talking about no, that's not. Was talking about respecting something future or unknown. Talking about the future. That's what anxious is.
Or unknown.
Or unknown, that's true.
So people's opinions is something that would be unknown.
That's true. Okay, so it does fit into
So it does
anxiety.
fit in. It's given the label of social anxiety.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is, you don't know it, and you're worried about it because you don't know it. And a future you is impossible to know.
Mm-hmm.
To know. So often worry and care can be boiled down to the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
And God is very clear that God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, it's clear, one, from the biblical perspective, anxiety exists, though it's not given that name necessarily. It does say, not to be anxious. So, the root word is used.
Yeah.
So I would say, it's not, if you use the word anxiety, you're not being unbiblical. It's fine to use that word.
Yeah.
But then it also talks about worry and carefulness, which is caring too much about stuff, or be careful for nothing. And it's not care as in compassion or responsibility, it's care as in caring too much about things you can't control and caring about situations that you have no hold over.
Yeah.
Because care is supposed to drive to action. And so if there's an area where you can't act, instead of worrying about it, you need to bring it to the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which brings us back to...
Right back to the verse.
The verses in Philippians, verses 4, 6, 7, and 8. Be careful for nothing. Don't be full of careful about anything, any situation, but in everything, get by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. So, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. So, what he's saying is, whenever there's a situation coming up, anything that is something that we could start worrying about, start having care about, he's saying, let your request be made known unto God. Bring it to God. Everything, bring it to God. But remember to, by prayer and supplication, so that's how you bring it to God, but with thanksgiving. Be thankful in everything. Don't have the worrying attitude. Don't get all stressed out about it. Because we can get ungrateful. We can get unthankful. We could come with a bad attitude and be like, God, why are you bringing this on my life?
Yeah, I'm freaking out. What are you doing? God, how dare you?
Yeah, exactly. But he's saying with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Come to God and just be like, I'm freaking out about this, but thank you for something that you can use to teach me. Thank you for
being a loving, merciful God. Thank you for answering my prayers.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you start finding things to be thankful about, a lot of bad situations stop being as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Or stop seeming as bad to you.
Once you start thinking about the things that you can be thankful for, you just start thinking about more and more, and you realize, oh, I can be thankful about this and thankful about this, and then it turns into a thank you God session, and then you're like, wait, why was I here again?
Yeah.
It really helps to calm us down, which then, verse number 7, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ. When we are thankful, we bring the situation that we're freaking out about to God, and then he gives us his peace.
Well, and I know one thing that helps me, because, there is a lot of stuff in life that has real consequences. Mm-hmm. Especially as you become an older teen into a young adult, you start having more responsibilities, more things that you do care for, in a literal sense, and that you should care for. And so there does come certain situations where you're like, yes, thank you, Lord, for being a good God, but like I need the situation solved.
Yeah.
And in that, I found often what helps me is thankfulness for what He's done in the past. Because I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna get me through this situation, God, and it's kind of freaking me out. But I will trust you because I've seen what you've done in the past. I've seen how you've worked in my life in the past and how good of a God you are. And because I've seen that, I know that in the future you can continue to be that good of a God. Mm. Not only because you've said it, which is the most important, but because I've seen it. Because, I mean, we're humans. And so I think at any time, most of us have been at Doubting Thomas. Mm. Unless I see it, I will not believe it, you know?
Yeah.
And the Lord, in His mercy, will often show us His power and say, look how good I am. Now do you trust me?
Yeah.
And as I'm maturing as a Christian, I've been learning to, I've seen what you've done in the past. I'm going to not blindly, I'm going to trust based off the evidence of how good you've been and the evidence of how powerful your word is that you will provide in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's that for myself. I've noticed that a lot, especially in some of what we could call the big decisions, like moving. We moved an hour and a half south from where we used to live. We were very comfortable with. We enjoyed our house. We had really great neighbors, which I'm not saying we don't. We do still have great neighbors.
Yeah.
I had a great job. I loved working there. But then, like, well, should we move? Well, that's something we could easily get anxious about. Like, oh, what's going to happen? What's in the future? But then just that thought of, God brings you God. This is seeming like something you want us to do, but we don't know what to do about it. You gotta, excuse me, you gotta help us. You gotta show us what to do. Give us peace about the right decision. Or, not only that, maybe even before that, like, teens and adults trying to figure out what you're going to be doing with your life. What job should I have?
Who you're going to marry?
Mm-hmm. And just bring it to God. Like, God, this is something that I could easily get anxious about. I could easily start overthinking. But I'm bringing it to you. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to look for a job. Thank you for whatever your decision is, for somebody you want me to marry, those different things. And then just let God take that, and it's just the peace that comes from that is amazing.
Yeah. I know another thing that I've found as I've gotten more mature in my Christian life, and I say that I've only been saved for 5 years, but which I need to update my testimony.
Oh yeah.
Because we'll get to that. But as the Lord has grown me, one thing that helps a lot with anxiety and with being worried about stuff is landmarks. In the Old Testament, the children of Israel set up a huge heap of rocks. Every man, they had 12 rocks, all stacked up in a huge mound. And they said, this is for memorial, so that when your kids come and ask, why is this here? You can tell them about how faithful God has been. Mm-hmm. And so I like keeping things either in my head, write them down, or even have something to represent it as a memorial of, this is when God showed himself powerful in my life. Like, I had one time at camp where I prayed for a girl and God saved her miraculously. I led another girl that I worked with to the Lord, who's now still serving. I use that example so much, but it's just such an awesome thing that God did.
I mean, yeah.
Or rather, I didn't even lead her to the Lord. I brought her to church. Other people also witnessed to her, and she made a decision on her own. The Lord brought her.
Yeah.
The Lord saved her. And it's just so cool. But I keep those as memorials, or times where God's provided for me. Like during my job, when I moved, it was the same kind of idea where the Lord's like, I think you should move and help this church. And I'm like, I don't have a job, I don't have a house, I don't have anything. I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. But the Lord, I said, but instead of not having faith, I said, all right, Lord, let's do it. And he found me a house, a job, and means, and a good budget, stuff that was in my budget, stuff I prayed for, God provided. And so keep those landmarks in your life, and they will help you when you start feeling worried about the future and about, will God provide? Will this actually work? It's like, God doesn't miss.
Mm-hmm. Which fits right into that verse number 8. It says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. It's just saying that once you've gone through the situation, the best way to keep from getting anxious again is to think about those things.
Yep.
True, honest, just, pure. Well, it just wraps it up at the end. If there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Just a reminder, like you said, think about the times in the past that he has helped you through a situation. Think about the times that maybe other examples of other people that God has helped them through.
Yep.
And remember those times of peace that he's given when anxious, or a situation that you get too worried about in the past, and you've brought it to God and he's giving you that peace. Just think on these things and God will help you to not get anxious about other things in the future.
Yeah. And one last thing I like, if you look in verse 6, it says, be careful for nothing. It doesn't say don't have anxiety or don't have carefulness. The Bible is very particular about its grammar. Mm-hmm. And it says it as an action, not a label.
Yeah.
Because our identity is always, it's even assumed that our identity is in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything we're doing is an action. So even if you feel anxious and you feel worried and you feel like your life is full of care, it's the Bible never shows that we should be using it as I have anxiety. It's I am anxious.
Yeah.
And the Lord can help me to stop being anxious. It's a action that can be stopped, not an identity.
Yeah. Yeah. Which kind of leads into our next 3 podcasts.
Exactly. Because this is one of 4 talking about general things of the mind and things of the soul. Mm-hmm. This was kind of a general overview of anxiety. We probably missed stuff, and there's probably going to be in other people, 1, with other perspectives, 2, with other and or more knowledge. So this is just kind of us talking about how we've seen it and how we've been helped to have victory over that.
And showing the verses that God has given about what to do with anxiety. Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you for
we should probably, you want to come say hi? Our unofficial guest.
Since we've come...
Because we've been using...
Am I in the frame?
Wait.
Should be.
I don't think we can all get in this couch.
Probably not.
Grace.
This is This is Grace and Sarah. They were our audience, and then
I
they
was
were
the emotional support.
you were the fact checker over there.
Just like Googling.
Yeah, because they also could deal with it. We're at some point going to do a collab with them.
Eventually.
So thank you for being our unofficial guests.
Our live audience.
And we look forward to having you guys as our official guests. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we will have another one up next Wednesday. Sorry for the last one being late. Camp was crazy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.